Good day again. Our topic for today is about using tables. Well, the first one will be the inserting tables. The second one will be identifying the parts. The third will be how to insert a table dialog, followed by draw a table, and then selecting the parts of the table, adding text, quick tables, border paints, doing math in the table will be our last topic. Now, the first thing that we need to do is simply insert a table. Now, once the table is selected, you will be choose how many rows and how many columns. Rows, columns. Let's say you needed 3 rows. So you needed 1, 2, 3. And then how many columns? Let's say 3. So you're going to choose 9. If it is 3 by 4, you needed to choose 3 and then 4. If it is 4 by 3, you needed to choose 4 columns and then 3 rows. So depending on the requirements or the things that you want to do. You can actually copy a Excel spreadsheets, which in this case, it doesn't have in the old previous 2010-2007 version of MS Word. Now, obviously, there's a quick tables underneath, but we'll discuss that a little bit later. So, why do you want to use a tables? To emphasize on the listing of the things that you need, or to differentiate the format or the patterns, which deliverables that you could able to choose from the column itself. Let's say the column of the date, the column of the first name, the column of the last name. You wanted to list that because doing that in a paragraph, it will be having a hard time for the readers to understand. Now, a typical example is 7 by 3. You have 7 columns and then 3 rows. Obviously, once you try to click that, it will produce a table with 7 columns and 3 rows. See, this is 7 by 3 and this will be the output. So now let's try to identify the parts of the table. Well, actually, there are 5 basics. On the table itself, the first one is what we call a cell. Similarly, into Excel, that is also a cell. So there are 21 cells because 7 times 3 is 21. So there are cells. The first column of the cells is usually you use it as a header or emphasizing on the top, which means you can actually put what is the data should be underneath the columns. So we wanted to insert a dialog. Sir, what? A dialog. Now, inserting a dialog, instead of dragging your mouse over the box, you can actually insert, adding, let's say, another one. You can actually create a table within a table. What is that again? I mean, let's say I have a table and then one of the columns and rows or one of the cell, I wanted to insert another columns or rows. You can actually do that. Okay? So, but the emphasis on the point is when you wanted to put something like a dialogue. Actually, what I normally do is actually I right click on it and then type something on it and then it will show you. That's how you insert a dialogue on that. Now, obviously, you can actually draw a table by simply using the draw pencil. I'm take that. So here's the selected part. Now you wanted to add a text on a particular portion or let's say column. So position the text. You can actually learn more on online course. And then you can actually add text to that particular area. You wanted to type that. Obviously, you can type anything. The difference is when you put a table, it's not like Excel that you can simply type. You point to that cell and then you type. Usually we do that also here, but it's a little bit difficult in table unless you use tab and then type. Okay. Now converting text into a table. Let's say you have this text and you wanted to put it in a table. This is the one of the new features of MS Word that you can actually highlight it and then convert into a text table. See? So the output will be simply like this. Oh, so if I have a paragraph, I wanted to put it in. So they just simply highlight it and then you just simply put the separate text at, let's say, a paragraph, a comma, a tab, or others, which you're going to be asked. Let's say you wanted to put it in a period or a comma. You just have to do that. So this is one of the few features of what we call the latest part of tables. Okay. So quick tables. Quick tables is something like a templates. What? A templates or a format that you can actually apply, use. For example, most of the tables are commonly used in a calendar. So you are given something like a calendar. Or it is something like a grid alphabet. Or you can double table. See this example of your what we call a calendar. This one is actually a very simple one. This is a version of calendar 2. And similarly, there is still a lot of things under the quick tables. Actually, there are a lot. If you notice, let us try to see something. Tables. So when you go to the quick tables, it's simply loading something. You see, these are the few selections. Alright, the subheaders. These are the particular sample. You can have a tabular list with the subheads, or you can actually choose a lot of more. Okay, so a quick table has been created. The templates and the start, you can replace it. You can create your own tables by selecting. You create a click and save, and then quick table gallery. Sir, those are the only choices? No, there are actually a lot in OpenOffice in the internet. You can actually select. Example of the templates. There's also a table there, format, but the good thing is you have to do it here. Now, let's say, sir, I created my own tables. Now, from formatting a tables, you can actually go to the tables tools. Oh, what are those? These are the format that you can actually see when you wanted to go and look for something to the particular format. There are a lot that you could able to choose from the design, but we should emphasize as a selection of the table. Now, when you choose, it's something like a format default that you could able to change, but you could able to adapt. Now, let's say I wanted to have this. I wanted this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 numbers to be have a color or change the font size. You can band it. The output will be similar. Then just simply choose something from here, from the layout tab. Let's go to the layout tab. You see, since we don't have any selection of a table, So it will not going to show us the typical of that. Now, selecting rows and columns. Sir, nasobra yung isa kong columns. You can delete it by selecting it, right click, and then choose delete. Sir, kulang ako ng isang rows. You can simply add. Sir, I want to divide this column into 3. Actually, you can add a column to the right, a column to the left. For the rows, I can add a row to the top or a row to the on the bottom or underneath to that. Now, you wanted to change the style of the border. What do you mean? Let's say I have a table. I wanted this color blue, the first column. All the lines is blue. The second column, something like different color, for emphasizing on that typical idea. So these are the themes that you can actually select from the theme borders. You can actually choose which color do you want. And then obviously the height or the width of the columns and the width, you can actually define it. Remember, we're talking again of inches. You can choose to the layout. You can actually right click, go to the properties, and then you can able to define the size of the height. The height would be for the rows. No, I mean a particular cell in the size of that. It is in inches as always. So you can distribute the column of the same size. Let's say I wanted all the columns to be same size. But the rows, depending on the content of the text, it will be different. Okay? So I've used a columns. Adjust the columns on the tables into our next topic, which is included in module 4, the different shortcut keys. Now, this is what I'm trying to tell you a little bit earlier. You can insert a column to the left or to the right. You can insert a rows to above or below. Or you can insert a cell. Just simply a cell. Now, once you choose to type anything, you can have it out of it, meaning the columns and the rows will be exactly fitted on the text content. You can actually choose what text of direction. You can even add a caption. But basically, you can also add a new comment, and then later you can change anything or almost everything on the table properties, which we have simply discussed. You can change the colors, change the borders, and the last and the most important thing is, which is not included in the previous, is something like this. These are the things that you have to change. Deleting rows and columns. Merging. Merging means you need to combine these two rows into one, but it doesn't affect the whole tables. Or I wanted to split a cell into two. Okay? Merging is shown as something like this. There are different rows and columns, but this particular rows has merged all the cells into one. While the split cells, there are two columns, but inside the first columns, there are other two columns which is split on the third cell, or obviously on the second column, which is the same. So split cells and merge cells is actually something unique that you can actually use. And there is also thing that you can able to split the table. Wow. Nag-merge na sila, nagsama na, pinaghiwalay mo sila, pilit, and yet they insist that you have to split them apart. Harang, split is something like you separate them different room in one house, but split table is you split them in two different house. Wala nang pag-asa. Merging is actually combining them into one. Now, the last topic is the most interesting. Doing math. Wow. Some people say, "Sir, I love math." Well, you can actually do math in the same way what you do in spreadsheets and Excel. However, word match commands are simpler and they are easier to use. Oh, really? Yes. There were times that you are encoding something like sales for Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. And at the end, what do I do is actually I get a calculator and then compute the content and then I type it on the total underneath. Because I was thinking, there's no way I'm going to compute or do math in the tables, especially in MS Word. Or the other way around is I do it, the content of the table in Excel, and then particularly I copy those table in Excel and then paste it in Word. Oh, okay. Hey, sir, do I need to open my Excel and then change the content if there is a changes in my table in Word? Now, you can actually do it directly in MS Word by simply going to the formula button. The formula button is similar to what? Excel. But this time we won't use the row and cell columns. We just simply type equal sum, what is the first row and the second row, up to what particular. Or you can simply do equal sum open quantity. Let's say the first row is 500. So you put 500 and then you put a plus sign. The second row is sets 350. And then you put a plus sign to the third row up to the very end. And then when you click OK, remember the formula should be on the last or underneath the total. I want you to try and explore that later if you have time. It is actually very interesting that you now can compute a formula, a simple math problem. Basically, what I'm trying to tell is all the things that you can do in Excel, let's say square root, a problem, something like. But you have to understand the format of the math sentence. Okay? So I hope you enjoy these modules of learning about how to use tables, what is tables, and then how do we maximize understanding of the tables. Okay? Thank you very much. See you in my next sessions. Hoping that you have provide something like a comment, a questions, or any suggestion to improve our discussion. I would love to hear it from you. Okay, see you soon. Bye bye.